Shoulders down. Looks better. Hello, everyone. So I made an entire class yesterday, 15 minutes. It was great. And the audio didn't record, so we're trying this again. But I used props yesterday, and today I just don't feel like using props. So we're not going to. Let's start laying all the way down on the mat. And we're going to find our neutral spine and then bring our legs to our tabletop. Let's start with our individual leg extension. So remember to put those shoulder blades flat on the mat. And we're just going inhale, send the right leg long, exhale, squeeze it in. Inhale, send the left leg long, exhale and squeeze it in. So as we move through this, you really want to feel that your rib cage is staying connected on the mat. If you can't lower the toes down, that's totally okay. Just extend. Thinking about rib cage, thinking about no snapping in the hips, and you may have one that's different than the other, like my right hip wants to snap more than my left, and then also thinking about those tips of the shoulder blades, or of the shoulders, trying to stay down on the mat. Sometimes it helps to open the arms a little wider, or to flip the palms up toward the ceiling, and we're just alternating the leg lengthening. So let's do one more each side. And then let's squeeze the legs together, flex the feet, and then we're going to do heel tap. So keeping a 90 degree at the knees, we go tap the heels to the mat and then lift back up. Oh, my shoulders just want to roll up today. Tap the heels down and lift. And tap, thinking about the belly button staying pulled down and lift. So I watched a video the other day of this girl who is a Pilates instructor talking about how she doesn't like the cue of belly button down. And I was like, I kind of disagree. I kind of really like it. I think that it's a good reminder for me because we want to always dome our abdominals to engage them, but thinking of that pulling the belly button to the vertebrae, I think really helps me because you have to engage and pull down at the same time. So, I don't know. I like it. I'm going to keep using it. Let's just do one more. Bend the knees in for a moment. You can rock them side to side. This is the first thing that I'm doing today. I have my coffee with me still. All right, we have to do the hundreds. We have to. It's not a Pilates class to me unless we do the hundreds. So in your neutral spine, bring your legs up to your tabletop, squeeze them together, hands straight up to the ceiling. Inhale. Exhale, press the hands down to the hips, tuck the chin into the chest, send the legs long. You can go heels together, toes apart, pat the arms. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. We're always thinking about the rib cage pulling down the entire time. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale, 2, 3. Squeezing the inner thighs. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale, 2, 3. Remember, you can always bend the knees into tabletop if you need. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is that belly button down to the spine again. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale, 2, 3. I need to really breathe. One more set. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. Bend it in and relax. Whew. Did my dog just come and drop her bone off? Apparently. All right. Let's move straight into our bridging so that we can start with that spinal articulation here. So really feeling those shoulder blades flat on the mat. Heels can be a little closer than usual. Nice neutral spine. Inhale. Exhale, scoop the abdominals, tilt the pelvis, squeeze the glutes, and start to roll it up. So already right here in this position, I'm getting a little quad stretch, which is fantastic, and we want to keep it, moving the knees forward as we articulate vertebrae by vertebrae off the mat. And it's really easy here, even when we're thinking about a pelvic tilt, to let our belly button splay up to the ceiling. We want to keep the belly button pulled down to our vertebrae. Inhale, exhale, and roll down. Keeping the knees parallel, vertebrae by vertebrae. Inhale. Exhale, scoop the abdominals, tilt the pelvis, squeeze the glutes. I've been sick lately, so everything just feels a little bit harder when you're recovering from being sick. Inhale. Exhale. But that's okay. We just notice that, notice it and keep building. Inhale. Exhale, scoop the abdominals, tilt the pelvis, squeeze the glutes, press into those heels, knees have to move forward, belly button is still pulling down, shoulder blades flat, all of the things. Rib cage is still connected. Inhale. Exhale and slowly articulate back down, keeping those knees pulling into parallel. Let's just do one more. Inhale. Exhale, scoop the abdominals, tilt the pelvis, squeeze the glutes, roll it up. I want to focus a lot on the hips today. Inhale. Exhale and slowly articulate back down. Whew, feels lovely. But we're also going to do roll-ups today. So, feet are as wide as your shoulders. The narrower you bring your feet, the harder it's going to be. And that is really based on your anatomy. For my anatomy, girl got a booty, okay? So it is hard for me to keep my feet together, that's the classical way of doing it, and actually tilt my pelvis. My lumbar spine will never get to the mat here. But if I open my feet a little wider, I can tilt my pelvis and bring that lumbar spine to the mat. So I like to have my feet at least shoulder distance apart. Find the best place for you where you can do your full pelvic tilt, but if you want to challenge yourself, bring them a little closer in. So neutral spine, inhale the arms up to the ceiling. Exhale, chin into the chest, scoop the abdominals, tilt the pelvis just like we did in our bridge. Keep rolling up vertebrae by vertebrae. And we're going to keep this rounded spine. You see how rounded this is? Dive the crown of your head to in between your knees. Then stack the spine nice and tall. So you have lots of options on your roll down. I'll give you two. You can go hands shoulder height, or you can go biceps by the ears. This is lengthening our lever length and going to make it harder for our roll down. So whichever one you choose, find your arm position. Inhale. Exhale, start from the pelvis, tilting, rolling back, and then we're rounding through the spine, vertebrae by vertebrae. Keep your biceps by the ears. Don't let them come forward. Chin into the chest. Articulate down, vertebrae by vertebrae. We're going to do 3 more. Inhale, arms to the ceiling. Exhale, chin into the chest. Scoop the abdominals. Tilt the pelvis. Roll it up. Keep the rounded C curve. Dive the crown of the head over toward the knees. And sit up nice and tall. Pick your arm position. So if you go shoulder height, that's totally fine. Inhale. Exhale, scoop the abdominals, tilt the pelvis. It's the exact same thing. We are just keeping arms at shoulder height. Inhale. Exhale, chin into the chest, scoop the abdominals. So when I was in middle school and high school and starting my Pilates journey, I was doing classical Pilates. That's what my dance teacher taught. And, it was very hard because... Oh, goodness. Sylvie, because everything was for a specific body type. It was like, you should all be able to do this because that's what the classical method kind of believes. Everyone should do the exact same thing. Inhale, exhale, and one of those things was roll-ups. And I was also told that you shouldn't move on the mat when you do roll-ups. And when I found the contemporary method of Pilates, that just opened so many doors for me. It was like, oh my gosh, I can do these things and they feel phenomenal and they make me feel better. Inhale. Exhale. Somebody go into the brewery. Tilt the pelvis. Round it up. By the way, I'm right next door to a brewery. So if anybody wants to come to mat class, 10 a.m. They open at 11. Rounding over. Stack it nice and tall. Sylvie. Hey, hush. Inhale. Choose your arm position. Exhale. Scoop the abdominals. Tilt the pelvis, roll it down, keep the arms by the ears if that's what you chose, and relax. We're going to transition into side lying, so let's flip over onto one side. For side lying, remember that you want your cervical spine in line, so we're not going to prop our head into our hands. We're going to find either a long arm or you can bend the hand behind you, and we're going to find a long line through crown of the head, through to the tailbone. Oh gosh, she's about to go again. And then you want 45 degrees in front of you with the feet. But that does not mean, so a lot of times people will move those feet in front of them and they'll round through the pelvis. Don't do that. Tailbone to the bottom edge of your mat. feet just 45 degrees in front of you. And then I like to say, bottom side of the waist lifted, if you need to bring that elbow underneath you. I like to say, bring the top foot another 15 degrees in front of you. And I want the big toe and the heel touching the floor. Right here, that does not mean that you changed your waist. It does not mean that your hips are no longer stacked. We are still in a stacked position. Then we're gonna go rainbow the leg up and over, and we're gonna try and tap big toe and heel to the back of the mat without letting the waist arch up. Lift and tap forward, so it's staying parallel. And lift and tap it to the back. So right here, I'm engaging inner thighs to get big toe and heel to the floor. Lift and tap forward and lift and tap back. I did this with a band yesterday, all the side lying work. So I am feeling that glute med today. Lift and tap it back. Lift. And this is another one that, like, depending on your anatomy, this could be super easy or super difficult. How wide are your hips? You know, where are your hip sockets really situated in your pelvis, and how are they situated? Because I actually have a client who has extra bone in her hips. So some of this stuff, like lifting your hip here, some people may not be able to lift it as high. But we want to do it as far as we can. And lift and tap to the back, keeping the rib cage in. Ooh. And we can close the legs together. Ooh, I like that one. That one's good. Now we're gonna go up to the ceiling. We're gonna do développés today. So développés, French term, it's a ballet thing. If you're a ballet dancer, you know. It means to develop, makes total sense. Develop, développé. We're gonna go heels together, toes apart in our side lying, still in our long spine position. Sylvie, no, video. Right here. So we're gonna go hips stacked. Bring your top toe to your bottom knee. When you do this, don't allow your hips to drop back and don't allow your knee to drop forward. Keep it rotated out. Then we're gonna go bring the knee into your shoulder. Nothing changed about your waist. Extend the leg. Flex the foot, squeeze the legs together. So anytime we go to the side with our leg, point through the toes, toe to knee. The knee is not going to be straight up to the ceiling, and neither is the toe, because who has that perfect of rotation in the hip socket? Knee to shoulder, so it's gonna be a little bit in front of you. Flex and squeeze, but we wanna try and rotate femur in the hip socket as much as we can. Point, toe to knee, knee to shoulder, extend, flex, and squeeze. Point, toe to knee, feel that rotation. This is like a clamshell right here. And then knee to shoulder, really engaging those glutes. Extend, flex, and squeeze. And because we're laying down, we don't get as much in the hip flexor, even though it's working, but we're not fighting against gravity. And lift, extend, flex, and squeeze. Let's do one more here. And point, toe to knee, knee to shoulder, extend, flex, and squeeze. Ooh, and relax. Let's do a hard one. So this one I'm going to offer modifications because I know side plank for a lot of people is very difficult. If side plank is too hard to get to on the hand, you can always come forearm into a kneeling side plank or extend the legs always out and hold here. If side plank, full high side plank, is in your movement vocabulary, we're going to find it today. So we are going to find a kneeling position. Wrist is directly underneath our shoulder, extending both legs nice and long. From here, we're gonna bend the knees and bring our tailbone towards our heels. So now I'm extending through this arm, engage the lat, bring it back over the wrist. And we're just gonna bend and press it back. If you're holding side plank, great, we're not gonna be here that long. Bend and press. Also, I love this top. I got it on sale. Sweat Society. Local brand, right here in Southwest Louisiana. They're awesome. We're gonna do one more. Here we go. Bend and press and drop it down and relax. Whew, we're flipping it over to the other side. I feel like my pants look dirty. The pants are Athleta, thank you. Yes. If you know, you know. It's the best. Laying it all the way down, finding our nice long cervical spine, all the way through our spine, actually, tailbone too. Bottom side of the waist is lifted. And I like that shoulder back underneath you thing, because sometimes when we lay here, even when I try and lift the shoulder, or lift the waist, my shoulders are not square. You may have to bring it back in line. That's okay. And then we're gonna go 15 degrees further forward with that front foot. And we go rainbow. Oh my goodness. She's been a menace. Sylvie, come here. And then tap toe and heel in front. Sylvie. She thinks she's the protector. Remember, this is inner thigh. I think I'm letting mine change a little bit. Need to focus a little more. Hey, come here. Did you even tell the camera hello? And tap toe and heel to the back. This is inner thigh, not waist. And lift. And tap forward. Oh, you're just looking for that piece of bone, aren't you? Oh, way to shake my camera. And tap forward. Lift. Ooh, glute burn. Inner thigh, not waist. Lift. And tap it. Forward. And lift. And tap it. Back, toe and heel. Lift. And forward. Lift. And I hope everybody listens to music while they do this. Follow along and listen to music and close the legs together. So now we're gonna move into our devil pace. Heels together, toes apart. Second side always moves faster, less talking. But it also sometimes hurts more because the first side is already tired. So heels together, toes apart, make sure that bottom side of the waist is still lifted up and out of the mat. And then we're doing our devil pace. So we're going toe to knee. Remember, this is like a clamshell. Hips are still stacked, but we're thinking about rotating the knee toward the ceiling. Knee to shoulder, extend. It's not gonna be all the way to the ceiling. Flex and squeeze, unless you have the craziest hips ever made. Point, toe to knee, knee to shoulder. Ooh, extend, flex, and squeeze. And see, on this side, I'm feeling a little bit more limitation. Point, toe to knee. In this moment right here, when I lift knee into the shoulder, I feel a little tighter there today. And flex and squeeze. Just noticing that it feels a little different. And lift. Extend. I brought my hand to my lumbar spine, top of my pelvis here, so I can really feel that I'm not rounding the pelvis forward. We talked about that on the other side. Toe to knee. Extend. Flex and squeeze. I'm going to do one more. Point, toe to knee, really rotating. Knee to shoulder, bottom side of the waist lifted. Extend, flex, and squeeze. All right. Now we have our side plank. So another option I did not give, maybe high side plank is in your movement vocabulary, but bending the knees and finding that elevation of the arm isn't, which is totally okay. Hold your high side plank. That is also acceptable. Maybe you take a smaller bend in the knees. Also acceptable. So hand under that shoulder, wrist directly under the shoulder, and then we go both legs long, or maybe you're holding your lower side plank, totally fine. Maybe you stay here. If you're doing the bend with me, here we go, 5 times. Bend and press, and something you don't want to do is lock out your elbow. Think of a little bend in your elbow, and press. We have 3 more, 3, and press, and 2. I wanted this to be a 15-minute video. I hope it ends up that way. And last one, and press, and we can drop it down and relax. Leg extensions. So hands are flat on the floor. You can rest your forehead down on your hands. You want your legs to be about mat width apart or narrower. So for my anatomy, I go close to mat width apart. The more narrow it gets, the harder it can be for someone like me. Your anatomy may be a little bit different. So you want to have your heels rotated towards each other, pressing into the big toes, straightening the knees. Then we want to think about the pubic bone pressing into the mat and scooping the belly button up and away. That does not mean you splay the rib cage. We keep the rib cage connected at the front as well. Maybe I should put this here. So rib cage connected at the front. Right leg floats up an inch, straight leg, and lower it down. Left leg floats up an inch and lower. So as you're doing this, you're keeping the belly button lifted. Like you could slide your hand under your stomach and lower. That's the goal. And lift and lower. And see, as I'm lifting, I can tell in the mirror in front of me, I'm extending my leg out to the side. So I'm going to try and stop that. And I'm going to try and lift straight up and lower. And lift and lower. Belly button staying lifted, pubic bone staying down, knees staying straight and lower. And lift and lower. Lift, squeezing your glutes and lower. I recommend looking at this one in the mirror or videoing yourself when you do it to make sure that this isn't changing. You're not going lift and lower or lift and lower. That low back is staying solid, staying stable. Lift and lower. I'm still seeing my foot go out. I gotta really think about that. This is my new goal. Don't let my feet go out. All right, one more. Lift and lower. Whew. And then you can relax. Let the belly button drop. All my clients say this is the one that creates heat because your face is down toward the mat. Ugh. All right. And for our stretch today, I'm going to show you a new stretch. I've been talking about the IT band with people a lot. Remember that your IT band is a fibrous band. It does not change in length. It does not stretch out, but it connects muscles on either end from your knee to your hip. So it is still important to stretch in those areas. So I'm going to give you this little stretch for your IT band. You can send your legs straight up to the ceiling, and it's nice to use a TheraBand here, but you're going to sickle your foot. So you're internally rotating that foot, you're supinating it. So your bottom of your foot is facing to the opposite side. And then you're just going to slightly bring that leg across the body, keeping the flex and the sickle. If you have a band, you can wrap it around your foot, and then you can pull it over. And you're going to feel that stretch all the way down the side of your leg, keeping the hip down still, not letting it lift up and go with you. This is really good, so we're lengthening all the way through that side of the foot. Whew. And then we can change sides. Flexing the foot, sickle. Bring the bottom of that foot to face the opposite wall. And then if you have that band or a towel or a strap, whatever works best for you, and then you just pull the foot across the body. This can also be done with a partner. So sometimes just having them press the foot flexed and sickled, and then very gently pulling it over to the opposite side, keeping that hip down. Communicate with your partner if you're doing it with a partner. Whew. Yeah, so I feel that tension right at the bottom of my knee there, telling me I have a little bit more calf tension. But that's a really great stretch for your IT band. It's not your IT band, it's the muscles that connect to it. But give that a try, and I hope you enjoyed class. Okay, love you, bye-bye.